And now for the valedictorian address, Clara Jimenez.
That's wrong. I put it in a Facebook family, ask them if I can somehow.
I don't know half of you, half as well as I should like. And I like less than half of you, half as well as you deserve. This is a quote from my favorite author, J.R.R. Tolkien. My entire life has been outlined by good fortune. I'm lucky to have parents that introduced me to the Beatles, which led to a love of Led Zeppelin and all things classic rock. I'm lucky enough to have parents who value education above all else and who sacrifice material possessions in order to ensure our financial stability. I am fortunate to have an older sister who exudes responsibility and intelligence, encouraging me to aim high in order to emulate her dignity. I am fortunate enough to have two brothers who taught me how to play card games and remained by my side when I needed to finish homework late at night. I am very grateful for Miss Larabelle, who let me read The Hobbit in 7th grade and gave me a love for Tolkien. But, above all, I am fortunate enough to be standing here in front of you today because, in all honesty, anyone in the top 10 could have been here instead of me. Gus, Jason, Hannah, Julia, Ryan, Jalissa, Elijah, Katie, and Gabrielle are the most intelligent group of people I have ever had the pleasure to meet. On a separate note, I'd like to thank Chris, Kelly, Sequoia, Jalissa, Anders, Victor, Ariana, and Renee for remaining my friends throughout high school. I'd also like to thank Dr. Ruth for helping me with everything this year, Mr. Raymond for encouraging my love for English, Mr. Schlater for being fantastic, and Mr. Quinn for teaching me about standard deviations. I feel that many people look at the valedictorian and assume it was easy for them to become the valedictorian. They assume the valedictorian breezed through 4 years of school while taking AP classes and receiving A+ on every assignment. Although this may be true for some people, it cannot be further from my truth. Since I'm up here, I should tell all of you a few things about myself. My parents were both born in Mexico and immigrated to the United States in the 80s, which makes my siblings and me first generation. I attended Aro Hardin Elementary. Spanish was my first language, and I didn't learn English until I was 8. Life has not been easy for me, and the past 4 years have been the most trying of my life. I'd be lying if I claimed to have never received an A-, a B, a C, a D, or even an F on anything. In all honesty, I got a D on my first statistics quiz. I failed my first calculus test, and just about every other test that entire year. I failed almost every exam in the first semester of physics, and I got a C on no less than a third of my AP US history quizzes. I'd be lying if I said I knew all the answers, that I've never guessed C, that I am good at every subject thrown my way. I am not an extremely intelligent person, and I never have been. What I am, what I accept, is that I work hard. One does not achieve because they are perfect. One achieves because they have the drive and the passion to exceed expectations. I believe everyone is inherently intelligent, so we may not all be Edgar Allan Poe, or Kurt Vonnegut, or Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, but we are all capable. Most of the graduating singers here have passed their driver's tests. I have not, but that is a different story altogether. If you can do that, I challenge you to study for government or economics with the same vigor. And though I believe everyone is fully capable, I also realize that failure is a necessary aspect of life. We must fail in order to grow. There are circumstances in life that prompt internal struggles and vulnerability. The way we cope with our moments of weakness showcases our strength, not only as individuals, but as a generation to be reckoned with. On January 5th, 2013, I watched a film called Dead Poets Society. If you have yet to see it, you really need to. The film centers on Mr. Keating, portrayed by Robin Williams, bless his soul, who begins teaching a literature class at a boarding school in the 50s. Mr. Keating meets a class of students who do not understand the significance of prose or poetry. He spends the film changing the way his students view the world. He opens their eyes to the arts. He shows them that passion is more important than wealth or profession. The arts and humanities are grossly underestimated. People seem to believe that engineering and mathematics are more important than the arts because, for some reason, we push the idea that numbers take precedence over letters. People assume intelligence is based on how well you solve equations. How can someone who writes stories and poetry be smarter than someone who solves Bernoulli problems, you may ask? I firmly believe that intelligence does not automatically denote one's performance in chemistry, physics, or calculus. Now, I might be biased simply because I am awful in chemistry, physics, and calculus, but I still believe that classifications in science and math are not superior to literature or theater arts. If you want to write books or produce plays, that does not make you less valuable than someone who knows their way around a graphing calculator or can recite atomic numbers off the periodic table. Literature contains some of the most inspiring messages I have ever heard in my life. The first chapters of one book I read encompass the following lines. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. That was from everybody's favorite AP English 11 author, Henry David Thoreau, taken from his delightful book, Walden. In Mr. Schlater's class, we read a poem that became my favorite. It's one of the most well-known by Welsh author Dylan Thomas. For the last 2 years, his first words have resonated with me the most. The poem reads, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." What Thoreau and Thomas share is the universal message that one is meant to not only live life, but enjoy living it, to make something of themselves, to rage against the dying of the light and suck out all the marrow. Now that we are heading into the real world, we need to realize a few things about life. I think all of us have gone through enough in the past 17 or 18 years to demonstrate that life is not easy. In all honesty, it will never be easy. All of the problems you went through in public school will pale in comparison to the amalgam of issues characteristic of adulthood. In a few years, most of us will still be in college, but some of us might be paying rent or raising families. That's some heavy stuff, guys. Standing here with you today, I can say that I was not sure I would make it this far. For all of you who have gone through mental or physical turmoil, who still made it, be proud of yourselves. For those that have overcome disability or who have helped someone survive, I thank you. So as we sit here honored by staff, friends, and family, remember, as Tolkien once said, all we have to decide is what to do with the time given us. Heed the words of Samwise Gamgee as he helped Frodo into Mordor. There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. The world is not perfect. We are not perfect, but we must remember that life is not meant for perfection. Days and nights are riddled with flaws that characterize each and every one of us as part of humanity. Do not be ashamed of your faults. Do not hide your shortcomings. Learn from mistakes, grow as a person, and always regret nothing. And, as Mr. Keating preached to his students, Carpe diem, seize the day. To the graduating class of 2015, I implore all of you to make your lives extraordinary. And to the teachers, staff, family, and friends who helped us on the way, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group and ourselves, and I hope we've passed the audition. Thank you.
Okay, 12 more speeches, guys, and then we'll get to the class. No, just kidding. All right, so now the moment you guys are all looking forward to, let's give a big Baylor